New episode of Skeleton Crew is dropped. Let's see where this adventure continues to take us. Bright Suns, everybody. Batuuboii here with another review for Skeleton Crew. I just finished watching our latest episode of Skeleton Crew entitled Very Interesting as an Astrogation Problem. This episode also directed by David Lowry, who directed episode 2. Again, just another fun episode, and just continuing to see the love and outpour going into this show is so refreshing. Like I said in the last episode, it's just so nice for the community to all come together and just revel in this show because it's absolutely so much fun, and it really feels like that kind of fun loving setting that we've gotten throughout Star Wars, especially in like the original trilogy. So I'm all for it, and I'm excited to get into this newest episode with you. So episode 3 opens back up on At-Aten. So it's all the parents of KB, Fern, Neil, and Wim coming together to figure out what they're going to do to try and get their kids back. As they're conversing and seeing what's going on, Wendell, Wim's dad, is kind of being very quiet. He's, as we saw, at least in the first episode, he's very subdued. He's always kind of just meshed into his work. He doesn't really pay a lot of mind to Wim unless he is disciplining him. So I see this as him really just kind of thinking about what kind of father he has served to Wim, and how he has been, for the most part, pretty absent in his life and not really showing him that love and compassion. So he is really going through it right now. One of the security droids comes in to let them know that the supervisor that is in charge of this case, that it pretty much is out of his hands, as the starship has left the barrier, as they've been calling it, and that there's not really much they can do to save the children. Obviously, the parents are very upset, wanting to speak to the supervisor, and in the background we keep hearing that communication outside the barrier is forbidden. Travel outside the barrier is forbidden. So it's At-Aten at this point has become very enclosed, and it's kind of in its own little bubble, which they get into more in episode 3. Previous episodes, whenever the kids are asked where they're from, they say they're from At-Aten, and they're left responded to in laughter, as it's kind of starting to become known that At-Aten is like a myth. It's a mystery. It's something of pirate folklore. It's a hidden treasure planet. It's kind of just like out there. Nobody really thinks that it really exists. It's not on any star maps or anything like that. So you saying you're from At-Aten, it's like me saying I'm originally from Tatooine in the real world. Everyone's just gonna look at you like a freak. But we come back to the scene of them in the jail cell. We meet this Force user who is able to get himself out right away. We also learn that he is named Jod Na Nalwood, or at least that's what he tells the kids, as we'll learn a little bit more in the episode. Fern also kind of questions why he wants to help the kids, as if he's a Force user, then why couldn't he have just gotten himself out and left? He says obviously that's going to be really difficult without a ship, so obviously they have a ship, he has the Force to help them get out, so there's a nice little combination there. The next parts of this episode is them trying to escape this pirate fortress. They manage to get onto the ship, all of them except SM-33, who the children are very concerned about, and they insist that they go back and save this droid. Jodna says, okay, I'll go and grab him without the children, so he leaves the ship to go and rescue SM-33. It's here that we learn a little bit more about his implications, because throughout them going into the ship, Cape's saying, he's a Jedi, are you a Jedi? Duh, he's a Jedi. But he's not really confirming it for real. He kind of just nods off and just says, yes, yeah, sure, just kind of blowing off their answers. And it's here that as he's grabbing SM-33, another one of the pirates calls out to him and says, oh, it's you, Selvo. So we now know that he is also Selvo, the head of this pirate gang, and that you're kind of inferred that he's the one that got arrested by Brutus at the beginning of episode 1. This other pirate is insisting, okay, so why did Brutus let you out before your trial? Selvo insists that, oh, I have found my way out. I have found my way to my grand treasure, speaking about At-Aten. So he truly believes that there is something of value on At-Aten. Obviously, this leads into a nice little chase sequence of him trying to get back onto the ship. It's classic Star Wars, just chaos, and it's so much fun. And it's here that we get one of the craziest launch sequences in Star Wars as he's trying to get the ship out of the port. There's a fuel line connected to the ship, obviously. So he manages to find a way to kind of wrap the line around some pole, and he says to engage the hyperdrive. They literally go into hyperspace in a crowded port out of a planet, and it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen as we literally just see the ship disappear and the fuel line whiplash back into the port and just start destroying everything in its path. It leaves us with this really cool shot of Brutus just standing there as this giant beam falls in front of him, and it's so fun. I'm literally just shaking at how fun that part was. As we continue on through the episode, we learn that his motives now is trying to get to a friend of his that knows maps and knows coordinates and hyperspace maps that would help the kids get back home to At-Aten. It's here that we continue to just look a little more into Salvo and just who he is and how the kids don't really trust him that much, especially KB, who in a scene where all the kids are asleep and KB is awake, she says, obviously, like, I don't trust you that much. He insists that he is there with good intentions and insists that the kids go back to sleep on their way to the next planet, where we do land, and we get these really nice shots of them walking on this planet with this, and I'm assuming it's a moon. It's not like a full planet, because we see one in the background that's illuminating their silhouettes as they're walking up to their destination, and it just looks so nice. It's very, like, just reminds me a lot of Stand By Me, and it's so cool to look at. It's here that we also meet Kim, KH''YMM, because Star Wars, who is this owl/cat like alien. It doesn't really have a name yet, so I'm loving that we're getting these new species in Star Wars, which is awesome. We learn very early on that Salvo really doesn't trust her. He insists that she could stab you in the back. Neil, obviously very scared that he's literally going to get stabbed in the back. He's insisting that he doesn't fully trust her. And it's confirmed here because as they're walking up, we hear Kim reaching out to the Republic, insisting that they come and pick up these children and rescue them. And at the door, they open it and we meet Kim, again, this owl person. She looks really cool. I think it's a nice little combination of CG and animatronics as the mouth kind of moves like a puppet. So I would love to see some more behind the scenes of that. And when they tell her that they're from At-Aten, she pulls up an old Republic map of all of these planets, and it looks really pretty as she insists that At-Aten has been wiped from all Republic maps and cannot be found anywhere in the New Republic or the Republic before it. Insists that they have to go through old Republic archives to look for this planet. And it's here that we kind of get more of what their vision of their own planet is, as she asks for like specific features that could help them break down where their planet possibly could be, like any neighboring moons or anything like that. They just insist that they can see the barrier at night, and it's kind of just this giant cloud. So obviously there is something going on that is trying to help the people of At-Aten stay away from outside of what is going on in the galaxy. It's also here that Neil mentions that all of their parents are coordinating towards something called the Great Work, which that's pretty much all we get at that point. So that'll be a nice reveal further down the line. As Kim is working, Salvo says, I don't trust you. There's something going on. I feel like you're stalling. We do see that she has a communicator reaching out to the Republic, and it's literally here that we get a nice little fight sequence between Kim and Salvo, which is really funny. He's able to grab this card with the court with what I assume is the coordinates to help them get to At-Aten. And as they are running out and trying to escape, KB stays behind to help Kim, and Kim insists that if you ever need my help, you can call me. So obviously Kim is not, trying to backstab them in a way that she's just benefiting her. She's really looking out for the well-being and trying to help these children, which is really nice. But as they're leaving Kim's home, we see two X-Wings come in. This is New Republic X-Wings that are chasing them down, and as they're trying to get onto the ship, they literally block Salvo from getting onto the ship until he tells them what he's really there for. And it's here that he says, I'm just like you, I'm alone, I'm lost. It's also here that Salvo admits that he is not a Jedi, but he doesn't go into how he knows the Force, why he uses the Force. This is enough to let them know, as they strike a deal saying that you can come with us, like we being the kids, but you are going to work for us. He says deal. And this is the part where it feels very Star Wars like. It's kind of harking back to you're on the Millennium Falcon for the first time, shooting down TIE fighters, as he gives each child an assignment. He gives KB the task of repairing the hyperdrive. He gives Neil the task of piloting the ship, which is so funny, as you literally see him looking like you're driving your car for the first time as the ship is moving up and down, and it's really fun. He then assigns Fern and Wim as the gunners, and this is here where we just get like these child actors portray so much emotion and just show so much enthusiasm, and you can tell that they really love what they're doing. And it's here predominantly as Wim jumps into the cockpit of this like gunner seat as he's spinning the seat around and shooting everything around him, and it's so heartwarming and fun as they try to shoot down these X-Wings. And the X-Wings aren't really shooting back, obviously, because there's children on board, but as we're getting through that, the hyperdrive is ready and they exit the planet. As the X-Wings come down to dock on Kim's house, he asks them, where are those kids even from? And Kim responds, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. So obviously, just even around like the New Republic and the galaxy, Aten is something of a myth that we will continue to explore going into these episodes. I love how it's not trying to dump you with exposition right there and then. It's kind of just leaving things up to interpretation and just letting you just sit back, relax. Here's all of this fun stuff going around, and we will get to the exposition and have all of your questions answered as the show progresses. So I'm all for it. I'm super excited for next Tuesday. So you got to just let me know what you thought. What did you think about this episode? What do you think of the show so far? So just make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. But as always, this is Batuuboii. Thanks for watching, and as always, till the spire, my friends.